My name's Kenny Dyal, and welcome to Season 2 of the Scuba Diving Podcast. My next guest has a very interesting story. His name's Daniel Cox. He made his living as a landscaper and grader, and eventually had a unique opportunity to, you guessed it, buy a giant rock quarry / lake. He just did it. He's going all in. He and his family are just working hard to really revamp this place and make it a destination. It's truly a theme park for scuba divers. You're not going to believe the stuff under the water. I actually had the pleasure to dive here. You'll see some of that footage as well. This is definitely a bucket list location. It's just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. You're going to love to hear this story. You're going to love to hear about the dive. Hope you enjoy the show. All right, I got a real question for you, like legit. What on earth made you decide that you wanted to buy a rock quarry?
Well, we came out here. I mean, we liked the scuba diving part. My son and I, we dive, but the beauty of it, that's it. When you come here, it's not like you're in North Carolina. It's just a different place.
Yeah, it feels and looks exotic. It shocked me when we pulled up. I'm impressed. What were you doing before you bought this? What made you decide, like, oh, that's what I want to do now?
Well, the diving wasn't really part of our long-term plan. We just wanted the property, and we found out that the diving community was as big as it was after we bought the place. Doy Sherrill, the original owner, he kept telling me, oh, you got to keep the scuba diving park, which there's such a group that comes out here, and we kept that in place. But the main thing was just for the property and our company to move here, and now we moved the company out and we're bringing in recreation.
What were you doing before you bought this place?
We had a property that it was just a brick building that we had all our landscape equipment at. We run a landscaping and grading business.
Wait, so you had a landscaping business and then you're like, you know what? Now it's a rock quarry.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't really want a big piece of property, but this was so unique that I'm kind of like, it's a unicorn. Let's see how it goes.
Now, what's special about this quarry compared to most others or lakes or similar dive sites?
The visibility here is really good. We've got shallow areas where they do a lot of teaching. We've got a shallow plane and a lot of shallow attractions.
I loved how many things were close by and not deep, so you can really spend some time down on the bottom, and you're not having to swim all over Christ's creation. I noticed that your different dive sites have buoys that mark them, or different attractions have buoys that mark them, so people can just bounce from one little thing to another.
Yeah, we had some friends, and then my son, they ran lines to all the attractions, and then we just put the buoys a couple of weeks ago.
What do people say about it? Like, what is the most common feedback that you hear?
We get a lot of positive feedback. All the new entry points, we made everything safer. We put the synthetic turf going into the water. We added steps going into the water instead of just bare ground. Getting your wetsuit on and off, not having sand was a pet peeve of mine. Now you can get undressed with your suit and stuff and not have sand all in your wetsuit and in your boots.
You know, it's funny, the turf grass where you suit up is unique. It seems like something people just ignore. Everyone focuses so much on the dive, and you've actually got it to where it's comfortable getting set up and getting out, getting in your car, getting out of your car. I love that.
Yeah, it's first appearance is our thing. By having a landscaping business, that's first impression is your first thing that you go to.
Now, is that part of your landscaping business in the background right now?
It is. The crew's out here cutting, getting ready for the weekend.
That was our fault. What's the biggest challenge you've had trying to get this place up to snuff?
The new things, like we want to add a pavilion, we want to refinish the house. It's all about the permitting with the county, and they're working with us. They finally approved our recreation permit, so moving forward with that, we've got some cool things on the horizon.
Looks like you've already done a lot of work. Obviously, this is a scuba diver's paradise, but a lot of people, or I guess I should say a lot of places, they forget about, we're not in the middle of New York City. People are going to drive here.
Right.
And people are probably going to make a day out of this at least. They're going to want to bring their family or friends that maybe don't scuba dive. And it looks like you're getting things set up to give them something to do too, which I really like. What kind of things are you going to add?
So on the far end in the cove area, we're going to it's a floating water park. So we'll have floating docks to that structure that's in the water, and then we'll have kayaks and paddle boards out in the bigger water area.
Yeah, this is a big lake. And how deep does it get out here?
The deepest part is 89, 90 feet.
What's the coldest you can find on the bottom here?
I think the coldest is about 42 degrees, 43 degrees, but it gets colder. Wintertime, it drops even more in the 90-foot section.
Most of the shallow area is pretty warm.
Yeah, right now it's about 86 degrees down to 30 feet.
What's your favorite thing about the place?
The beauty of it. It's just a fun place. There's so many different aspects of it. from, well, when you pull in, you've got the water and then you got the synthetic turf. We just like beautifying the whole place. If it were me, if I could afford it, I'd pave the whole place for the parking, but it's out of the budget right now.
I don't know, it even looks like you have like granite slabs for benches. I mean, it looks like a Flintstone diver paradise up there. And the theming is just phenomenal.
Yeah, all of the stones, all the stone walls, every bit of stone is being recycled from the woods. Like, we're taking stones out of the woods to build the stuff that was quarried out of here originally. The steps, the slabs that you see, those were cut here. 51 is when the quarry closed, but they've just been tucked away in the woods.
I noticed that you went and scoped out some similar locations. Like, you've done some traveling, you've done your homework, and you've seen what other people are doing. What did you see where you were like, oh, aha, let me do that? Like, have you seen anything that you definitely want to recreate here?
Yeah, I don't have approval yet. Future stuff. What my son and I saw at Brownstone this past week was they've got a zip line and they've got like a slide that goes off one of the cliffs into the water. That was fun.
Yeah, that sounds. Do you think you're going to do that?
I think eventually we'll do that.
We'll come back.
We're going to start with
line.
We'll start with the floating structure first, and then it'll grow from there.
What's the biggest complaint you get out here?
Fire ants every once in a while. We'll tag somebody's foot.
Not what I was expecting, but
the porta-john guy might miss one of the porta-johns pumping it. So those are the two. Diving and the entryways are getting in and out. It's good.
Do you think a lot of dive facilities overlook the entry, getting in and out of the water, and they might have something cool underwater, or it might be a good dive, but that gets missed from the car door to actually going in? All the little steps and gearing up and walking down in mud and slippery and staging. Do you think that gets missed a lot?
I think it does. One of the things that my son and I have seen visiting places is the entry points. Some are too slippery, some are dangerous, and we've asked owners of other places, what's your biggest liability? They say, oh, it's somebody slipping on a rock. Well, if you can minimize those things, like with the synthetic turf, because it's hard to slip on synthetic turf, if you get those out of the walk path and go with sand or go with a turf product, then you'll have less injuries, and there's always going to be something that happens, but you want to try to minimize it as much as possible.
What's your favorite thing underwater on the dive?
I like the planes. I like going on the planes. We had my son and my twin girls and some friends of ours on the shallow plane a couple of weeks ago. We all dove in with brushes and cleaned all the algae off, and it was the biggest workout because you're trying to swim and scrub at the same time.
So you're actually scrubbing underwater planes to keep them nice and pretty for other divers.
Yes.
Did you ever think you'd be doing that?
I did not. I never even thought in a million years we'd be in the scuba or recreation business, but since June of last year, it's been nothing but fun.
How often do you go down and scrub that plane, or how often do you have to go scrub that
Well, that was our first time. It looked like Donald Trump's hair on the top of it. So we're like, well, we need to clean it off because it's probably 8-10 inches tall. So we get there, there's, 8-10 of us, and we go down and just scrub away.
So how do you think you're going to keep doing that, or getting some sort of routine?
Yeah, because it makes it look cleaner. I mean, the old groups that have come in here, the plane's been there for a long time. The shallow one has, and the deep one. People have put their names on it and put 2006. Okay. It's a history behind it. It's cool to see that. And you can see the old customs tag that's still on the plane. Yeah. And it's neat to see that stuff.
I assume those planes didn't crash into the lake.
No.
How'd they get in here?
The original owner, Doy Sherrill, he brought the stuff in. Stuff that had been abandoned at airports. He purchased it and brought it in.
How did he get them things in here, do you know?
Off the beach area here. Yeah, that's the only entry point, and we made it wider, put the big stones.
This really is like a scuba certification class and an entry-level scuba diver haven. You do have the advanced stuff for those people, but it really is just like a low-stress, easy, fun playground.
It is. Sitting on a Saturday and Sunday, that's the busiest times here. During the summer, like sea turtle camps coming from the coast, and they bring kids up here that they're certifying. And it's fun just to watch. A couple of the schools in the area, they're certifying their students. It's just neat to watch a community grow that you really have never been a part of. So it's just fun watching it.
So this place has a pretty wild history. We were reading up and heard about a lot of like creepy things going on here. So there's doll heads that float around. There's little demon dolls on the bottom. There's giant ghost fish. Had a moonshine factory here?
I don't know about the moonshine factory. All the doll head, or not doll heads, but all the mannequin heads.
Hold on, wait a minute. We said all the doll heads. Why are there so many doll heads down the bottom of a green, eerie lake?
The original owner had a hairdressing business, so he had all the mannequin heads, and they sunk them all around. They floated up. We've seen heads just floating across the water. It's kind of eerie when you're out there and one pops up facing down.
Yeah, that's a horror movie in the making. You know that, right?
Yeah, there's a kid. It's kind of like a haunted kid's playground.
We saw it.
Yeah, it'll definitely open your eyes when you're down there.
You want to close your eyes when you go through there. There was a kid's playground with a bunch of doll heads and everything. Doll heads in the airplanes, doll heads in the school bus. There's one just floating out on a line, just floating out there. So does anyone ever come up and say, hey man, this kind of creeped me out a little bit?
People put like skeletons in the airplanes and move stuff around, and they talk about it.
So this used to be a rock mining quarry,
right?
Long time ago, and there's still like a rock crusher down on the bottom. So it has a wild history, and even may or may not have been a moonshine factory at one point, but it became a scuba diver's paradise.
Right.
It was falling into disrepair. You're like, hey, this could be really cool, and it is. We just saw it. We were on the bottom. How did that come to be? How did you end up getting this?
My son and I, we came out here to dive. We just wanted to get a couple of dives in, and we found out after we left, we're like, oh, the place was for sale. So we went Googling. We're like, oh, it is for sale. I went over, knocked on the door to the owner's house because I didn't want to use a realtor then. I didn't want to get a lot of people involved in it. I kind of did some valuations. I went and offered him a lower amount, and he told me, no, I'm not selling it for that. After about 8 months, we finally came to an agreement on purchasing it, and yeah, the rest was history. But coming out here the very first time, going to the back dock and seeing how pretty the place was.
So you could say persistence paid off. You just went on there and you beat the streets, you went to Google and you just kept making offers, and he's probably coming back, well, hey man, I got 6 doll heads down there, 2 planes.
2 planes, a school bus, cars.
A couple creepy mannequins.
Yeah. Well, now I can say I have 2 airplanes. They're not flyable airplanes, but I have 2 airplanes.
Leave that part out.
Yeah. And a bus.
Bus, boat.
Yeah. A couple of sailboats. So.
Rock crusher and some demon heads.
And a couple of billion gallons of water.
What are you most excited about?
Next summer, May of 2023, once we get the Wibbits, that recreation part, we want to add some more attractions here in the scuba part also. We're on the lookout for a helicopter. We're in the market for a shell of a helicopter. So you can swim through. It'd be another cool attraction.
Yeah, absolutely. Next summer, you should really be jamming. Where do you see yourself in 10 years here?
We want this to be a destination spot for scuba diving and for the recreation.
You don't think you'll ever get tired of it?
I don't think I'll get tired of this. You've been in something for so long. I'm not tired of the landscaping, but this is new and fresh, and it's just fun.
You get to marry your love of landscaping with a giant badass quarry that people dive in. Like, that's never not going to be interesting.
It's fun. It's fun. We've had challenges, but challenges, there comes rewards afterwards.
So you're going to be here for a long time?
We'll be here for a long time.
Good, man. I want to come back and see what you do.
It's going to be fun.
Awesome. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the show. I just want to say I appreciate your efforts, but you don't have to send us a treasure chest full of gold, unless you actually have one. But you can always drop a 5-star review or even go to sweetwaterscuba.com to support our channel with a small contribution, or become a member, which gains access to all the interviews uncensored and everything in one hub, and especially my personal online courses where I share all my experience and knowledge with you so you can take what I've learned and run with it. Plus, we send our members custom art postcards that actually show up to your physical mailbox every month. Any and all forms of support are appreciated, and at the end of the day, I'm just glad you're here. Hope to see you underwater soon.